Hello, y'all, and welcome to another Single 8 show. Your name is...
My name is Joseph Mills. Your name is...
The Single 8.
I got confused what the name of the show was for a minute. I literally thought you called it the wrong name, but no, it's correct. It is a Single 8 show. It's not... Your show's alphabet only has one letter and not three.
Yeah.
I still can't believe I can't break the old show name out of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you eating?
Nutella sticks.
Nutella sticks, the official food of the Single 8 show. Hunter and Joseph Mills approved.
Yeah.
Cha-ching!
Yep. And today we're talking about one of our favorite wrestlers, aren't we?
We're going to talk about sort of wrestling in general, but we do have to bring up a moment on the most recent edition of AEW Dynamite. That would be the April 16th episode of AEW Dynamite.
Yep.
With Toni Storm standing in the crowd. And what happened?
She came out with the trans flag behind her.
There was a trans flag behind her. So I want to talk about... There's a lot that can be said for that. So I'm going to go through everything.
Yeah.
Okay, one, Toni Storm had that done. That's one thing that can be said.
Yeah.
Two, another thing that can be said about that. A fan brought in the transgender flag and just happened to be at the right moment at the right time. That can also be said. So let's talk about both of those things for a few moments. That flag was on the hard camera side, so there is a strong possibility.
It was pulled out by her people.
Right, you saw it that it was pulled. Did Luther pull it out?
It was, her people were carrying it. It was 1950 dread shoes. It was like old-fashioned television people.
So you saw a person come out with her that pulled out the flag.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me more happy.
Yeah.
But let's dispute it a little bit more even still. But that makes me very happy.
Yeah.
If it was just a guy that was lucky enough to be on the hard camera side with that flag and pulled it out, I want to give a verbal hallelujah and thank you to Mr. Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Do you know who Tony Khan is?
The owner.
Tony Khan is the owner, director, producer of AEW. So there's multiple things that they could have done when that flag came out. They could have did a much harder close-up shot on Toni Storm to keep it off of television. They could have shifted everything that it was more Tony and Luther. But I have to tell you, the camera director, it looked like, and the cameraman, it really looked like they did everything possible to make sure that camera was in shot. They pulled back. They put Toni Storm and Luther in the left corner of the screen instead of centered. You know? It visually looks like that they did everything possible to keep that in shot.
I'm bringing up the shot-by-shot image on my phone really quickly.
Yeah.
Luther and behind her, and it is crowd people.
Yeah.
It was AEW being great.
Alright, so AEW is being great.
Yeah.
Alright, that's cool. But I really do. I think that's very cool. And I want to talk about a few wrestlers over the last few weeks that have been vocal for our LGBTQIA plus siblings and all of the marginalized friends, from immigration issues, all the like. That wrestling has stepped the hell up on being vocal advocates for progressive causes.
Yeah, because I'm kind of in wrestling culture. It was supposed to be a hell. It was supposed to be fuck you a little bit to everything.
Wrestling?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, a little bit, not a lot.
Well, even more than a little bit. I think that what you've said is absolutely, positively, completely true. Wrestling has always had the responsibility of being a reflection of what society is. If you look at wrestling in the 80s, it was corporate America against the common man with the Four Horsemen and Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
It was America versus the Cold War with Hulk Hogan and the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. It was America versus Russia with Magnum TA and Nikita Koloff. So wrestling has always been majorly political in its presentations.
Because I feel like, especially now, part of its job is showing what is happening in the political landscape in a way that is tolerable, like you can take it in and still get like that information in a concise manner, but you're enjoying how you're getting it.
Yeah, for sure. And in the storylines of the 80s, that was very much the thing. But now the wrestlers have stepped out hard, and it's not storyline anymore. The wrestlers have become very outspoken advocates over social issues and I'm glad for it.
Yeah.
So I want to talk with you about some few people, and I want you to share what you know about the wrestler, and then I want to share what I know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the most recent one that has produced the newest t-shirt in my t-shirt collection. It's Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green, I believe, is a trans woman, right?
No.
That is another wrestler.
Yeah, you're thinking about Nyla Rose.
Nyla Rose.
And also Kelsey Shaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's the Kelsey.
Yeah.
That's where that you fumbled it up.
Yeah.
But Chelsea Green did do something very cool for transgender siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Recently, there was this former wrestler, and his gimmick was a porn star, and his name was Val Venus. But he's become like this uber conservative jerk online, and he started attacking the trans community, and Chelsea Green just went completely off on him and wrote a bevy of tweets just disproving his intentions, and truly, absolutely standing up for the transgender community.
Yeah.
And that was absolutely amazing to observe. And once upon a time, WWE had a strict policy that they knew everything that you tweeted about, what you put on social media, and they had control over their talent and their media accounts, and stuff like that would not have happened even as early as the early 2020s. That wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But now they've loosened the reins, and now Chelsea Green can speak up and defend transgender siblings in that manner.
Yeah, it kind of helped that the McMahon stepped off.
It does. It absolutely helps that Vinnie Mac has moved out of the way. Yes.
Yeah.
As they destroy our country in other ways. So we'll get into that in a moment.
Yeah.
Too. CM Punk.
He's an amazing trans advocate.
Is an amazing trans advocate.
I believe he would maybe like one of the first wrestlers that came out with a t-shirt.
He had his a transgender print CM Punk logo, yes, and that was very cool. Constantly holding up Trans Kids Matter signs that people have out in the crowd, holds them up for it. When he was in AEW, it feels like every time he came out to the ring, he had some kind of progressive statement to make that he wore on his t-shirt. He had a t-shirt about women's reproductive rights. He had trans kids Matter shirts and whatnot, and especially online. Mr. Phil Brooks is not hesitant to call anybody out. And one of the things that I really liked very recently, like this week, CM Punk got harassed by somebody for working in WWE that they called WWE MAGA promotion, but within that, he yelled back at him. He said, "Why? It doesn't change who I am. You expect me to quit my job just because of what the company I do? I've worked really hard to be at this place." And he was not defending WWE as a MAGA place. What he was actually saying is, you know what, if I don't work here, then their voice is the only one. And he has to stay there, and he has to stay vocal as an advocate. And it does not make him a hypocrite for working for a conservative company. If anything, it makes him more stronger and more brave that he's willing to be there and to keep his progressive voice heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love CM Punk.
Yeah, just we do.
Yes. Kenny Omega.
He's a great wrestler.
Yes.
And Rick Kane wants him.
Rick Kane wants him to confess some things that may or may not be true about him, but it's his journey, right?
Right.
But Kenny Omega constantly making sure that transgender flags and signs are seen as he's leaving, intentionally stopping to take selfies with individuals that have progressive banners so that they get caught on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and back in my day, wrestling was the southern, God bless, forgive me, the southern dumb hillbilly program,
Yeah.
But now wrestling has really stepped out, and the wrestlers just using their position and using their voice to be advocates in all of these really cool ways. All right, let's step out of LGBTQ for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Mick Foley. Do you know? Can you say anything about Mick Foley?
No, I don't know a lot about.
Mick Foley was
Mick
Cactus
Foley.
Jack. He was Mankind. He is the world's greatest Santa Claus impersonist. Mick Foley has been a really vocal advocate for the prevention of abuse towards women, and he aids and assists this group that's called RAIN, and RAIN is this spousal abuse program that gives individuals a chance to have someone to call to get support and guidance for places that they feel that they might be in a domestic abuse situation. And Mick Foley has been a strong advocate of that for years upon years. So it's really cool to see how progressive that wrestling has gotten. But a minute ago I said, but the McMahons are still ruining America.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
Linda McMahon, wife of Vince McMahon, is Donald Trump's pick for the Department of Education that they are gutting and pulling apart. It feels, I have to use all the magic words because I don't want to get sued. It feels like that there is an agenda to destroy public education, to make it so that only those who have the most and are the most privileged can learn, and keeping everyone else restricted from education. And the things that have been happening lately within the Department of Education at the federal level has been appalling. And the person that sits in that main chair, Linda McMahon. It's very, very angry. All right, let's break to a commercial and then let's have some fun. Believe it or not, we just talked about wrestling for X amount of time.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten to the fun part yet. So, welcome to Rolling Greens Golf and Cemetery. That's right, friends. Now at our 18th hole, you can come in and enjoy your favorite forms of sports entertainment. That's right. In our Undertaker Lounge, you can sit next to an imagery of Paul Bearer and enjoy your favorite professional wrestlers. Also, we have drinks that are named after your old-time favorites that aren't with us anymore. Have a Rowdy Roddy. Taste of Dusty Rhodes. Are those memories that you have of those that have gone on, they're celebrated in our 19th hole Undertaker Lounge. That's right. It's not just remembering the game, and it's not just our Dungeons and Dragons area. That's right. At Rolling Greens Golf and Cemetery, you can make your place that you have your hole for one, the place that you celebrate a power bomb for one, Rolling Greens.
Yeah.
And
come get your cup of roasted blue coffee down at Beanie Diner. Come sing to your death and come down to Toy Zone and get all of the Lords in Black for $259.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, because it's the 5 of them all together.
What does the Old Man Mills say about that price?
Somewhat reasonable.
Okay. All right, what do you want to talk about as fun this week? What is our single leg show half-hour power hour moment?
Let's talk about weird stuff for a second.
Can we talk about something originally that was the original purpose of the half-hour power hour?
Yeah.
Do you know what Power Rangers...
Oh, yeah, we need to talk.
...finally apologized about?
The racism.
Their quote-unquote unintentional racism of making the Asian Power Ranger yellow and the Black Power Ranger black.
Yeah. Oh, my. Because now they got Disney money. Now they have to apologize.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Power Rangers are now going to make it... I believe they announced a Shattered Grid series to be on Disney Plus.
All right, what's Shadow Grid?
Shattered Grid is
Shattered Grid
is one of the... It's going to be based off of the Power Rangers comic line of the same name.
Okay.
So they would probably they're going to have to do a lot of casting.
Did you get those comics?
I'm going to try to find the graphic novel for it. Because it would 2017, 2018 those happened.
Yeah.
So I'm going to find the graphic novel for it and get it.
So they got to do a lot of casting.
Yeah, they're including casting a new Tommy.
Okay. There's going to be a new Tommy Oliver.
Yeah, they're going to have to cast a Tommy. That means whoever they cast
is fucked.
Had a lot of weight on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And it's I hope they come in with the Lord Draken first.
Okay.
Giving the Lord Draken Tommy for that person. And then they don't have the weight of the original MMPR Tommy Oliver.
Yeah.
Immediately struts upon them.
Yeah.
And then they only have the weight of that comics on them.
Okay.
And the comics are still a big weight.
Yeah.
But not as big as carrying the original Tommy Oliver on them.
Uh-huh.
And I'm really hoping that it's not copy and paste.
Okay.
Because Shattered Grid is a multiverse storyline that started in a alternate universe in the comic than the original.
Okay.
So I'm really hoping that whoever they cast for Tommy,
yeah,
do not feel like they have the weight of Tommy Oliver on their shoulders.
All right, so I need you to explain that a little bit more. Now I know everything about Power Rangers, so you don't have to explain this for me. But just in case that there's somebody out there that doesn't know the Lord Draken storyline. Was that a different person that was Tommy Oliver that didn't look like Tommy Oliver?
So Lord Draken is an alternate version of Tommy Oliver, if you know the original series.
Oh, completely.
If he kept on following Rita Repulsa and eventually took her plate by killing her and taking up Lord Draken.
All right, but that person would still look like Tommy Oliver.
Yeah.
All right, that's what
But
I was trying to get at.
I also feel no pressure for them to have a person that looks like Tommy Oliver. Anyone can be Tommy Oliver.
Which would put a lot of weight on them.
Yeah.
To get somebody that looks like Tommy Oliver.
Yeah, they would have to look for someone that looked like a young dated David Frank.
Yeah.
But because I'm like, oh, you're doing Shattered Grid. Oh, well, there's a lot on that is Tommy, and you are going to have to cast Tommy.
Well, they got to recast everybody anyway, right?
Well, yeah, but it would be, they would have to, hopefully they'll set it in an alternate universe, and they don't have the weight.
But would this be like the original Power Rangers?
It would be, in the original storyline, it was the original Core 5.
Yeah.
Set in 2020.
Okay. So
in a 2020 Angels Grove. So they would, no matter what, have to cast everybody.
They got to recast everybody for the age, right?
Yeah.
The right age?
Yeah, and it would have to be whoever who casts, kind of like the 2017 movie, cast them in a way that they are not copying, because these are new versions of these characters.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if we did get a copying page, it would not feel right.
Oh, I get that.
For it, and I understand it would make the fanboys mad. Well, who cares about the fanboys anymore?
Because nobody that was an original Power Ranger is anywhere close to looking like they did almost 30 years ago?
30 years ago now.
Yeah.
I believe, 30 years ago this year, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe this year the 30 years of Power Rangers mark.
Okay.
Or at least it was. Somewhere in the beginning of the decade, it was.
It was the early 2000s, right?
It was the early 90s.
Early 90s?
Yeah.
That's right. Power Rangers started when I was a senior.
Yeah.
And I was kind of out of my care at that moment. I wasn't watching Saturday morning TV shows anymore.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, it was the late 90s, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that you're in the 30th anniversary.
Wow, I'm old.
It might have been last year. It either started in 1995 or 1994. I think it was 5.
Okay.
But it might have been last year because they had the Once and Always special last year.
Okay. And Once and Always was a 30th anniversary?
Yes.
Intent?
With pretty much the original team back.
Okay. Well,
so they were smart in not going, Tommy died.
Yeah.
In between that. So Tommy's not in the group.
Yeah.
So they were smart doing that. Or with Tommy was either dead or with his son in the special.
Okay. So does Tommy Oliver's son become a pivotal character in Power Rangers?
In the comics, he is the SPD Green Ranger.
Okay. Okay.
And his name is JJ.
JJ?
Yeah.
Very cool.
I know way too much.
You know, it's cool, but it's cool that you know all this about Power Rangers. It's very awesome cool. It's cool to have something that you love this much.
Yeah, because I'm literally this is the information that made my brain the way that it was.
Yeah.
Because I needed something to do while I was in your office.
That's true. You were watching a hell of Power Rangers.
I pretty much binge all the Power Rangers. So, contact us at our email if you find SPD somewhere. Tell us.
TheSingleAgeShow@gmail.com. Again, that's TheSingleAgeShow@gmail.com.
Tell it, because that's my favorite season.
Yeah.
And they thought this year would be very different.
Yeah. That's true.
And the thing of things, there would be aliens, and we would pretty much already have pets.
Well, I think that there's aliens everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that alien would be here already.
Yeah.
and already, like, found home with people and we would have powers. And I'm like, I wish. That is a much better version of the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Power Rangers, but my way of living.
It's true. It got you through a lot of boring moments, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's shut this down, and you gotta plug yourself.
Go to Redbubble and buy my weird stuff. There's a lot of new Hatchetfield stuff that I put out over the course of the week.
And you'll notice there's also a new Single H Show logo. Can we put that on the sticker shop too?
Yeah, that is already on there.
It's already on there? All right,
yeah.
Good.
I made a new logo the second we got off of our last podcast for me to remember to do.
Oh, which was the cover art for our last podcast, and now the cover art for our podcast as a whole.
Yes.
So, yes.
Enjoy the weird stuff.
Yes. And that was the Single H Show for this week.
Your name is...
My name is Joseph Mills. Your name is...
The Single H. Have a week.